We'll find out about that. Well, let me tell you why, you know, as a citizen, as a former congressman, as a former broadcaster, I guess still given the microphone occasionally, I'm concerned about the direction that the Justice Department's going. Not only the Justice Department in Washington, D.C., you might remember the 8 U.S. attorneys general that were fired, and many of them saying that it was for political reasons. One, David Iglesias, wrote a book saying he was told that his firing was political and he was supposed to just go away quietly. Well, Alberto Gonzales is out as Attorney General, but there's still a lot of questionable activity going on in the federal Justice Department. You probably read and have kept up with the case of former Alabama Governor Don Siegelman. Siegelman, under the Bush administration, was convicted on charges of conspiracy, bribery, and fraud stemming from payments made by then Health South CEO Richard Scushi. The payments to Siegelman allegedly came in a laundered fashion. Siegelman also had been charged with a pay-for-play scheme tied to a lobbyist named Lanny Young. But Time Magazine, New York Times, other top newspapers and magazines across the country covered the fact that, you know, he wasn't the only person in Alabama that was receiving money from these lobbyists. One, in fact, was current Republican Senator Jeff Sessions and U.S. Circuit Judge Bill Pryor. Now, both of those men are Republicans, both former state attorneys general. However, Sessions and Pryor were never investigated, never prosecuted, and eventually Governor Siegelman was let out of jail because they found, in fact, what looked like prosecutorial misconduct. Is that happening here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania now? You say, well, is it? Well, here's the question that I have, and I'm only raising the question. You're probably aware that more than 100 current and former House Democrat staffers in Harrisburg have been subpoenaed by the state grand jury that's investigating bonuses and public corruption. Now, the reality is that it doesn't seem like, although all the news reports that I've read have said these kind of bonuses were paid by House Democrats and House Republicans, a lot of these bonuses were paid by Senate Republicans, far more than the Senate Democrats. Yet the only investigation appears to be into the House Democrats. It cannot be learned, according to this news report, how many House Republican staffers have been subpoenaed. It is believed to be few or none. That from a report from about a month ago from Brad Bumstead, the state capitol reporter from the Tribune Review. Not exactly a left-leaning newspaper. So even the Tribune Review, with its right-wing leaning, says we're going after the Democrats, we're not going after the Republicans. Then I saw another story where they talked about the fact that Kevin Hartley, a spokesman for Attorney General Tom Corbett, said the investigation into the bonuses is ongoing, but we will follow the evidence wherever it leads. Well, according to the Post-Gazette, agents with dollies showed up at research offices in the ground floor of the Irvis building back in 2007, and they left with boxes and boxes of records. Again, no similar search was done of any of the Republican caucuses. The Attorney General's probe began in February of 2007 after there were revelations that all 4 legislative caucuses paid more than $3.6 million in taxpayer-funded bonuses during the 2005-2006 legislative session. Now, why is that important? Because all 4 caucuses were involved, and this was in the lead-up to the 2006 election. House Republicans have been a total open book, according to House Minority Leader Sam Smith's spokesman. We have received no subpoenas or search warrants. Steve McNett, the counsel to the Senate Republicans, said his caucus had received no warrants, and the Senate GOP paid out $366,000 in bonuses during 2005 and 2006. Similarly, the Senate Democrats had only handed out $70,000. Again, the numbers, the Republicans in the Senate, $366,000. The Senate Democrats, $70,000. But it appears the focus of the investigation by Tom Corbett. Now, I understand these are grand jury investigations. They're very secretive. However, there are reporters sitting out in the hallway. These reporters see who's being called in. They know the staff members. They know if they're Republicans. They know if they're Democrats. T.J. Rooney, who's the chairman of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party, has called this an Alberto Gonzalez-like investigation. He says it seems that, again, referring to Tom Corbett, the Attorney General, who, by the way, is running for re-election this year, it seems that he has ignored the facts that red flags exist on his side of the field and is only pursuing the flags on the Democratic side of the field. Now, Kevin Harley, a Corbett press secretary, added that the Attorney General's office has prosecuted Republicans and Democrats alike, and it follows the evidence wherever it leads, blah, blah, blah. But the central question being asked in Harrisburg is, were the legislative employees paid these bonuses using your dollars and mine, taxpayer dollars, as a reward for campaign work, or were these legitimately funds that were given to them for bonus work that they had done on their legislative schedule? Unless you ask everyone in all four caucuses, Republicans and Democrats in the House and Republicans and Democrats in the Senate, you'll never get those answers. Again, the bonuses were not limited to Democrat staffers. At the end of 2006, House Republicans gave $270,000 to 45 aides. Senate Republicans gave $180,000 to 16 workers. And the Senate Democrats then gave $38,000 to about a dozen workers. Top aides to those caucuses say the Attorney General has not subpoenaed any members of their staff, or at this point that this story was written, had they, in fact, subpoenaed any of the records. They have now subsequently subpoenaed some Republican records, but nothing near the emails and the vast amount of records that they've taken from the House Democrats. Again, tying this back to Governor Don Seligman, he was put in prison. If you remember, Governor Seligman had just lost a very close re-election campaign. He was asking for a recount on that election, and it was traced back by some to Karl Rove saying, well, we'll take care of Governor Seligman. They took care of him all right. He was in prison, but in fact, later on, they had to release him. What's going on in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania? Why is this investigation only going in one direction?